What is going on, guys? This is Andrew back again with another video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the standings again. We're almost at the end of June at this point, so I figured I do, and it's been about a month, obviously, since the last two I've made. Had one in April, had one in May, so let's go in June now, because there are a lot of differences. A lot of teams starting to separate the gaps on who's actually going to be a playoff contender, and a lot of stuff has changed this month, so let's get right into it. Of course, we're going to start with that AL East. Now, there's been not much of a shakeup here. It's been pretty much the same, I would say. The Rays are still leading this division by 4.5 games, which is pretty good over the Orioles. The Orioles have caught up a little bit, though. The Rays have been losing a little bit more games this month than you would honestly expect. So I think it's going to be between Tampa Bay Rays and the Baltimore Orioles for the division winner. I mean, the Yankees 9.5 out. They just lost Aaron Judge this month, so that's not ideal for them. He could be out all season and possibly miss a little bit of spring training next year if he gets this surgery in September. So yeah, and they're not good hitting without him apparently. So kind of tough for the Yanks right now. You know, they could make some moves at the deadline. We'll see what happens, obviously. Toronto once again and Boston. You know, I think they're having really good seasons. It's just, man, this division's so tough right now. So they definitely be winning the AL Central. You know, all these 5 teams, which is pretty funny. Yeah, overall, I think definitely Tampa and Baltimore have a good shot for that top 2. And then, you know, I think Tampa and Baltimore definitely make the playoffs. I think these are teams that are going to be playoff teams. Yankees, Toronto, kind of fringe teams right now. I think one of them can probably get in if I had to choose. It is interesting to look at, though, between these 5 teams. And honestly, I think it could be a shakeup if the deadline happens. Obviously, we're going to be making a ton of videos when that comes out on what teams got better, what teams, you know, got worse and stuff like that. So we'll see between that happening. But AL Central is pretty interesting. Stayed pretty much about the same, I would say. So let's go to the AL Central now. I think this is the worst division in baseball. You know, it's just kind of tough. Like, the Twins are probably going to win the division. Cleveland, I mean, they were playing a little bit better, but these teams are not really good anymore. So it's kind of tough to see. I mean, Kansas City just has not been good all season. They're one of the second worst team in the sport. 22 wins is not cutting it. Chicago's failed rebuild. You know, it's just hard to tell what's going on in Chicago, in my personal opinion. Detroit, who knows what's going on there. I mean, that's another interesting project. I mean, they had some prospects. I mean, we got Spencer Torkelson still playing good. We had a couple pitching prospects there. Not totally sure what happened. Haven't watched much of Detroit's baseball in about a couple years, so not sure what's going on. Cleveland's an interesting one. You know, they obviously, I think they made the playoffs last year. Lost to the Yanks in the DS, so interesting squad. I mean, obviously, I think everyone expected the Twins to win the division. I mean, they definitely look like the better team with the Lopez trade, with Carlos Correa getting re-signed. They obviously got that Joey Gallo. Everyone thought he would improve with the shift ban. So it's been an interesting season for them. I mean, just barely above 500 right there. I do think they'll probably win the division. I think it's the only team that's going to make the playoffs from this division is the division winner, and I think they're going to get smoked in the first round, to be honest with you guys. But they are home, so who knows? But yeah, I think as of now, it's going to be between Cleveland and Minnesota. I think Minnesota still takes it, though. We'll see what happens with this division moving forward, but it's just really bad right now. So let's go over the AL West. We kind of thought this would be the wild card division, I think, in the AL, and it pretty much has been the Wild West out here. So Texas is still leading this one. Like I said, again, they've been playing some really good baseball, and it's so hard to discredit this Texas team with the 3 rookies they brought in. You know, you figured this team would be insane, and you know, I think Helm and Josh Young have been insanely good players for them, especially rookies coming on up in the system. Corey Seager and, you know, obviously Semien are back alive, hitting well. Pitching's doing a really good job, so really good job from Texas overall. So I'm excited to go see games here. I'm going there in August, seeing back-to-back games there. So I'm excited for those games to happen. Then we talk about Houston. I think Houston's having a pretty good season. I mean, they're 41-36. You know, I think it's just they got a, you know, their division opponents got a lot better than I think they were expecting. And the team's still really good. You know, the team's still solid. I think they're definitely going to make the playoffs. Same with the Rangers. Now, the Angels are where it gets a little mixy. You know, the Angels, you know, I know they got this Ohtani thing we've talked about on the channel before, the Ohtani trade. If it's happened, is it going to happen? Will he stay? I do think if Ohtani stays, this team probably's got a shot at the postseason. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But I think the Angels, you know, I did not really expect them to be playing this good, to be honest. So I definitely think I could see them making the playoffs if they keep Ohtani and they keep pitching well and keep hitting well. So we'll see what happens with them moving forward. You know, I think it's going to be very interesting between those 3 teams. They're both only 6.5 out, so anyone could really win this division. Let's talk about Seattle. Now, Seattle I thought was going to be like, you know, they obviously won 90 games last year. I do think they can probably still win that again. They're probably gonna have to make some moves at the deadline, though. We've obviously seen teams that are be 500 going into the All-Star break and win the World Series. So it's not definitely out for them, I would say, at all. But it's definitely, their chances are slowly going down with this division, and kind of the whole AL in general is so stacked this year. So going to be tough for them to see what they could do. And yeah, Oakland, we're 20-60 in Oakland. So yeah, not the best so far this season. Hopefully their stadium gets built in Vegas, so that's what they got to look forward to. Let's check out the wild card race right now before we talk about the NL. We obviously have our division leaders up top being Tampa, Texas, and Minnesota. Whoever wins the East and the West are definitely getting a bye in the next round to the ALDS. So you don't have to worry about that. The Twins are still terrible, so they're going to have to play in the wild card round anyways. So let's take a look at this wild card now. We have all AL East teams in there between Baltimore, the Yankees, and Toronto. I mean, once again, the Houston and the Angels are only a game out, so this is going to flip-flop a lot. Boston's 3 out, and then obviously Seattle's 4.5. So it's going to be interesting between, I think, Cleveland and Down are already eliminated from the wild card, in my opinion. I mean, 5 games out is kind of tough for a wild card, considering all the teams you have to jump. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting race to who gets it. I still think it's between Seattle and up right now for this. So I would say it's about like 10 teams competing for the 6th spot. So going to be interesting as we get down to it. And obviously the trade deadline is going to be the biggest factor on who's going to be looking the strongest as we head into the playoffs. Now let's take a look at the NL East over here. Now the Braves just hit 50 wins. So this team, I mean, this is kind of what we thought the Braves were going to do. We pretty much, I think everyone assumed they were going to win the division and get back to the playoffs. I mean, this team is disgusting. They're the best team in the NL right now, 2nd best in the league. So definitely a solid season from them. The interesting factors are up next. Miami being at number 2, 45 wins this season. I definitely did not expect them to be this good. And when I thought about the Lopez trade, I was like, okay, they're gonna get a good hitter. They've obviously still have Soler there. I was like, okay, they got an average team. Was pretty much what I was saying. But we've seen that work before in the past. And this team is like really good. So you'll have, like I said, it's an average team, but you have like 1 or 2 guys every game popping off. So I think that's really good for this Miami squad. And obviously they got the pitching. They obviously got that pitching. Sandy Alcantara, the ace, obviously over there. They got some pieces in the pen. Tanner Scott, like I really did a video about the Marlins. I think it was like a week ago at this point. So you guys can go check that out if you want to further break down that team. But they've been really exciting to watch this season. So 2nd place is really good. Definitely got a shot to make the playoffs. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then we go on to the Phillies. Now the Phillies have been having an interesting season so far. They obviously had a bad start. They're back in this playoff run, so looking pretty good. The Mets have been one of the most disappointing teams this season. 35-42. They're not out of it yet, I don't think, but they're gonna have to turn around it quick. Yeah, and then Washington. I mean, we kind of figured they'd be down here. Not really the best season. They are performing pretty decently, I'd say, for a team that's supposed to be trash. They're only 17 games from 500. It's not terrible if you think about it. But yeah, nothing crazy. So the NL East is getting a little crazy. Let's go into the NL Central. Now, I think this has been one of the most weirdest divisions in the league right now. So you start the season off, the Pirates are in 1st, then Milwaukee's there, and then the Reds are there. So it's been a little weird. Everyone thought the Cardinals were going to win this division. They're in last place, 32-45. Definitely not it. So yeah, definitely an interesting division for these guys. I mean, Pittsburgh's kind of cooled off a lot, I think, after that 9-game losing streak they went on. So yeah, it's kind of tough. So yeah, St. Louis, I don't think's got a shot to make the playoffs anymore. I mean, they're just too bad to really do anything. I mean, the only team that's making a playoff spot is winning the wild card, or winning this division, I mean, because the other teams are too good where they can't win a wild card right now. So you got to win this division. And I think the Reds are definitely the best team right now. I mean, with Ella De La Cruz, I mean, their new shortstop, Matt McCain, I'm pretty sure his name is. And I think they've called up like 2 more prospects as well. They also have a couple guys in their pen from pitching side as well. So they've been incredible. I mean, the Reds team has just been incredible. They'll probably win this division. Milwaukee and the Cubs have been looking pretty decent in general, but I just don't think they have enough firepower like the Cincinnati Reds are going to have to be anything and try to take them over. But who knows? We've seen crazier things happen. So I'd say all these teams are still in contention except the Cardinals, for that 3rd spot in the NL. So let's go on to the NL West. Now the NL West is very weird. So we obviously, let's start off with Colorado. Let's start last here. So Colorado, we kind of knew was going to get last place. They didn't really do anything in the offseason. They signed like 3 players, and that was pretty much it. So we know they're not going to be anything. You can watch my video about Colorado in the offseason. We kind of knew they were going to be trash, let's be honest. Now, San Diego is really weird. 37-41. You don't really expect that from a team like this. We thought this team would be a lot better, but they've kind of been inconsistent and struggling. So I definitely think they're still got a shot for the postseason. It's going to be tough for them. But yeah, very weird. Then we get to the Giants, Dodgers, and Arizona is in first place in this division. Now, that's the interesting team that I didn't think would be up here. So Arizona, like I said last year when I was doing my season reviews, I said Arizona's got a lot of key prospects, and if they could build an actual team around them, they could be a decent squad. I didn't think they'd be this good, but I definitely think that I thought they'd be a 500 team. They're obviously performing way over that mark, and they're in first place and the second best team in the NL, which is insane to say. We obviously have the Dodgers and San Francisco still insanely good. Dodgers, I think, are insanely good. They're working off a lot of rookie talent this year, so that's where they kind of can hurt them. And the Giants just went on like a 10-game winning streak, so everyone's back in this division. So been kind of crazy to think about this the last couple of days. Let's look at this NL wild card situation. So we obviously got the 3 teams up top between Atlanta, Arizona, and Cincinnati. Once again, I think Atlanta and Arizona, whoever wins these divisions will definitely be top 2. Cincinnati's going to have to play that wild card, or whoever wins the Central. So when we take a look at this, Miami, Dodgers, and San Francisco are all in the wild card race right now. Everyone's 3.5 out, so it's looking a little bit more decided, I guess you could say. I definitely think Milwaukee and the Philadelphia Phillies are still in contention. But, we obviously got teams like, I didn't really talk about the Cubs that much. San Diego and the Mets have been a little bit disappointing. The Cubs have actually been pretty good, I think, this season. I'm a Cubs fan. So I personally thought our team, we went 500, that would be a good season for us. And they're kind of on that track right now. So I think the Cubs are doing a good job when normally expected that team to be good. The Mets and San Diego are looking a little bit disappointing right now. I would probably say that it's really only between, Miami, the Dodgers, San Francisco, Milwaukee, Philly, and maybe San Diego I'd put in there. I don't think the Cubs are maybe a playoff team, but maybe I go like that. The Mets, like I said, they got to turn around. I'm just not confident in the Mets right now. But the trade deadline can change that, like I've been saying. So it's going to be interesting. I think my lock teams are definitely Atlanta, Arizona, Miami to actually get a playoff spot right now. These teams look really solid, and I think those will definitely be in there. So it'll be interesting, man, as we come down to obviously we got the All-Star break coming up, we got the trade deadline, and then we'll see who plays the best from there, and then goes into the playoffs. We've obviously seen the crazy Cinderella story the Phillies went on last year, so I think anyone, if you're in the playoffs, got a shot. So going to be interesting to see. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below about the season so far. We're in this June point. We're almost, at this All-Star break in July, then the trade deadline. So it's going to get really interesting over the next couple weeks. So if you guys do enjoy these videos, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.